Excellent.
And we are live. This is Ryan Munn with Interchain Live. Thanks for joining us today. We've got some exciting guests here talking about AIMedis, healthcare with blockchain. And I've got Roxana and Michael here today. Roxana, you and I spoke, geez, must be a few weeks ago now. And we've been kind of connecting, I guess, speaking on LinkedIn for a while before that. And I'm really excited to hear what you're working on here with AIMedis. But tell us a little bit about your background and what you're up to.
Sure. Thank you for having us, Ryan. Yeah, it was funny. You know, we had this call with the other advisors in a blockchain incubator, and then I correlated your voice, and I realized it was you. It was quite funny. So a few words about myself. I've been in the space for a couple of years. I've had about 10 years in the digital space itself, and I've been working with AIMedis since 2017. When I joined as their Chief Communications Officer. And it's been one hell of a ride ever since, so to speak, because healthcare is a fascinating domain itself. And I have a personal mission with healthcare because I have type 1 diabetes. So that for me is super important.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that keeps it really present in your daily.
I have a personal mission whenever I get
involved. We can talk a little about the insulin business in a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's quite fascinating because, you know, what we're trying to build and what we currently have and what we're trying to build is something that we think will really upgrade the healthcare space and prepare it for the future, you know, for making it affordable for patients worldwide. And yeah, I'd like to let Michael introduce himself. Michael is the CEO.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So real quick, I'm curious, how did you meet Michael?
Michael messaged me. I think did he invite me to the Michael invited me to the project, and we started talking. And I found his sense of humor really refreshing.
Awesome.
And then I asked some questions about, you know, getting rich really quickly with the blockchain and ICOs, and he said, "Oh yeah." And then I thought, okay, this is the type of person that I would like to meet because I know he was joking. So that's how we met. We met digitally, and then I flew to Germany to meet them face to face.
So Michael, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, kind of what your background is, and walk us up to today.
Yeah, thanks very much. So yeah, my name is Michael. As you already said, I'm one of the founders of AIMedis, and yeah, have the big luck to have Roxana on board and being part of the company. So about my background, I'm a doctor. I've been working in hospitals for over 12 years, almost 13 years, mainly in internal medicine with a focus on cardiology and gastroenterology, and also did quite some time in neurology and psychiatry, and have some experience in the pharmaceutical industry. I've been a drug safety officer for just 1 year. I've been trying out pharmaceutical industry, but it was quite a good and impressive experience. So I have a strong medical background, and thing is, I've been working for a long time together with Ben. Unfortunately he's not on the call today, but he's the other guy with Roxana and me. So we've been working in hospital, and you know, when you work in emergency room and intensive care unit, you always have problems in getting patients' data, right? Yeah. Person comes in, maybe unconscious, maybe conscious, but most of the time people, they don't have information about themselves. They don't have their medication with them. They don't know about their allergies, about their medical issues, although it's quite important, and then you do have a problem. And that is a situation that occurs every day in hospitals around the world. That's not focused on Germany or on Europe. It's basically everywhere in the world, the same situation. And in modern times like ours, where you can buy a car online, you can get your insurance, you can plan your holidays, you can buy whatever you like, there was no possibility to get medical data. And we said, hey, what's going on? Why there is no medical data? And you know, one of the big problems is that the healthcare markets are so they're so disrupted, right? In terms of Germany has a totally different system than the Netherlands, totally different than the United States, than in Africa and Asia, you know. And so there is no connection at all, and there is no possibility in getting medical data. And we said, okay, hey, we got to solve this problem somehow. Let's do something on our own. And yeah, we tried and first created a little shitty platform, was called the HealthNet. Yeah, it's 24. It was just a research project where the idea was just patients can upload their medical information, discharge letters about medication, allergy, stuff like that, and can share it with their doctors. And we did this for quite 3 years, and it worked out quite well. And we saw, okay, this is a real market, this is a real opportunity. And as we've been doing some stuff in blockchain, we've been mining a little bit Bitcoin, not too much, so there's no not too much Bitcoin,
Right.
but a little bit Ethereum and Bitcoin. And we said, okay, blockchain technology is really interesting, and we saw a use case for medical data very quickly. And so we decided to found AIMedis and put this all onto the table and combine it to the company that we do have now.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about what you guys are up to today. It looks like you have some live services that are delivering to the end user right now.
Yeah, correct. So, the basic system is still the medical platform where it's about data, right? So we have a first version of the platform that is not yet publicly live. It's available for some of our partner hospitals, which we've begun working with.
Right.
So you combine all the data and that you can do everything inside this platform, do video chat and stuff, and appointments and prescriptions and everything like that. But for now, we are online with video chat with doctors, with appointments, with second opinion, which is a very important market. Where, for example, you go to a doctor and he tells you, hey, you gotta get surgery because of this and that, and you say, oh, maybe I'm not sure if I really need a surgery, or maybe it's just, it's not always only about medicine when it comes to medicine, but very economic decisions partially. So you get my point, and so it makes a lot of sense to get a second opinion. So that's what we are offering, independent second opinion. And
supported with Bitcoin payments.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting to say that, because one of the conversations I've had recently around Bitcoin payments is not so much about the end user paying with Bitcoin, but about having a blockchain record of having made payments to the recipient to ensure that the payment is tracked, because apparently there's quite a lot of loss in the remittances process to tax authorities, to payees for medical services, and there's a whole lot of waste in the system just from the need or lack of pursuit of auditing those records. And so even if you just had Bitcoin basically, or any blockchain component in between, it creates that record that now it's really easy to audit.
Yeah, correct. And one big problem in healthcare is also fraud. Because we had quite some interesting conversations with big insurance companies going to Asia, going around the world and taking care of expats, right? And people get an insurance and they say, hey, I'm totally fine. I don't have anything. Just give me a low rate and I will not ever use your insurance. And then they get insured, and then first month they have problems with their diabetes, they have problems with their arterial blood pressure, they have this, that, and in the end it shows up they were sick like a chronic disease. And so this is also a thing where blockchain technology can prevent this, because it's damage for all the people paying for the insurance, right?
Right. Now, Roxana, were you able to get into the pilot for AIMedis? Are you a user of the platform?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I have the doctors with me 24/7, if you know what I mean. But
yeah,
I know the platform.
Well, because you guys are in different places, right? So what I'm getting at there is you've made some inroads, it sounds like, with some key partners locally, local to where you are, Michael. But then the real challenge ultimately is then getting all these different jurisdictions on board with things. So I have one question is what are some of the things that you're doing today to bring in those new stakeholders? And how do you see, my second question would be, how do you see other people making similar progress being able to interoperate with what you're doing?
Yeah, so first is we don't go everywhere at the same time. We have started in Germany, and Switzerland and the Netherlands and in Thailand. And that's what we are actually focused on. We already have boarded other partners in other countries like China and an African country. And we also had talks in Australia, but we don't want to go everywhere at the same time. So we want to work for the people we already have in a very proper way. So we don't want to burn ourselves by doing too much at the same time. And what's very important concerning competitors and companies in this field that are doing the same or maybe the similar stuff, because we have a I think we will have a product in the end that will offer everything, although it might sound a little bit crazy at the moment, but I don't think there is a competitor who's doing all the stuff that we offer at the same time. But okay, the system supports international standards, but when it comes to healthcare IT, there are certain standards that got to be fulfilled, and that's the same stuff everywhere in the world. So you have certain connection standards like HL7. People from the field will know what I mean. You have international coding of diseases, the ICD catalog from the World Health Organization, ICD-10 at the moment, 11 is in preparation. So we support all these international standards, making it possible to work with nearly any healthcare system in the world. I mean, there are differences in how services are paid or how they're calculated or maybe how they can be treated, but the connection of the information is basically very similar. So we are well prepared for that.
Right.
Plus, blockchain, that is one very important factor. You know, it's when you talk about medical data and about medical platforms, you always talk about data silos because you say, okay, I want to make medical data available everywhere in the world. But to be honest, it's not very helpful to create just another platform and say, hey, people, go and store all your data with us. Then again, you do have a silo. It doesn't matter if you're using blockchain technology or if you're a hip startup. In the end, you have the same problem, right?
Right.
So we see the blockchain as a possibility to interoperably connect other platforms. Because when you hand over, let's say you have a DICOM image, radiologic image, or you have a discharge letter, and you want to send it to another platform, you can do it flawlessly with a blockchain. Not that you put the data on the blockchain, but with the blockchain, you can follow up exactly where the data went at what time. And that's what most of the competitors also do. You have the possibility to follow up what happens with your data. So you can exchange it between different platforms. You can use these international connecting standards. So you can make a flawless experience in that. I mean, at the moment, there is still not yet a real infrastructure in terms of, okay, send my data from AIMedis to whatever, medical chain or MediBlock from Korea. But there will be the possibility to do so. And we are very, very encouraged, very motivated to connect to other companies and make this medical network a reality, not just to say, okay, everyone is only with us, because we know there are almost 8 billion people on the planet and we will not have everyone on the system. So there will definitely be the need to connect to others.
But so structurally, the way you are setting up the data access and availability, is it really in AIMedis's repository, or is it in a decentralized repository, or is it in the individual wallets of the users?
No, the data is not in the wallets. The data is stored in standard databases. We have physically divided databases. So we have databases for names and ID numbers and insurance numbers. We have medical database for values like blood pressure values, like blood sugar, laboratory results, and we have database where physical, I mean, like letters or images are stored.
So you can de-identify these databases basically, and then utilize them as data assets without releasing the key personal information.
Exactly, and it is like that the blockchain is not only used to encrypt and to use a private key or to decentralize this information, but also to generate transaction IDs. You must imagine one very important factor. When you store your data in a medical system, you might trust the system or you might not. But in the end, you never know who accesses your data. You store it, maybe you have your login, but you think, maybe some insurance company accesses my data, maybe my employer accesses my data, but you don't want that. So we use the blockchain to generate unique transaction IDs every time something is happening inside the system. So let's imagine you're a general practitioner, stores a new blood pressure value to your system. Then this generates a transaction ID that says this general practitioner at this and this time, from this and this point, with this and this right management, because the system does have a right management, which gives you the possibility to determine who is allowed to do what, has created this data. So you as a patient can always follow up who accessed your data at what time and what did you do on the system. Right? So that's what's very important. As it is decentralized, basically zero knowledge system, so that people can only access their data with their own device and node. And so there's no possibility for externals to manipulate it.
Yeah. Now, do you have basically a paywall model where both yourself, your clients, and other external networks that want to use this data for research purposes are able to then access this de-identified data by paying for it accordingly?
We give patients the possibility to offer their data to third parties if they want to, but so we do not do it from ourselves.
Has the keys and they can hand them to whom they trust.
Yes, exactly. We never have access to the data. So I do not know what my patient stores in the system. I have never access to that. I don't see his data. I don't see his radiologic images. I don't have access to that. We as a company do not do that, but the patient has the possibility, if he wants to, offer the data to, let's say he wants to take part in a medical trial, he can do this, he can monetize his data, but that's his decision, not ours.
One thing that we will offer moving forward in the second version would be once we hit a specific number of patients using, so we'll have a decentralized DApp, which will deal with social media for healthcare and patients. So this means if I am a healthcare consumer, or if I enjoy health and wellness and I want to register as a user there, I can register. I can exchange basically my emotional and personal experience with certain treatments, or let's say life improvement tips. And then there will be a deep learning system that will quantify this information and add it to research, because we found out that we found out that nobody really puts the patient experience into the quantitative data. So what we're doing is beyond, how we deal with treatment, we're going beyond that, and we're looking for the psychological and emotional effects that those treatments have. And this is very important for pharma companies. It gives them a broader understanding of what is happening to the patient at an internal level, not just what we can measure with devices and surveys.
It also seems like it can open up that feedback loop to really more of the minds needed to solve these problems, because even the way things currently work, even the patient typically doesn't get a full view or digestible view of their medical data. And so now not only will their primary practitioners have that access to it, but we can have this whole marketplace of service providers that monetize the data in various ways, which that can be made transparent by blockchain technology, and compensate the end users providing that data through those mechanisms. But the other piece is that there's a whole marketplace available for service providers that can digest that data and then present it in ways that the individual end user can use to make better decisions about their own health. So whether it's, go ahead.
We'll have a section which is a marketplace. If you create medical IoT devices, and you want to promote them to an audience that uses them, then you can come to our platform. We create a partnership in which we offer our patients the opportunity to use these medical devices or get them at a specific price. You know, usually when you find medical IoT on the market, if it's new, it costs a lot of money. So we're looking at maybe building a subscription based or something like a monthly subscription to pay for the medical device if you want maybe the latest insulin pump or you know, like a glucose meter. These are things that, you know, you don't really have access to. And the problem is in a lot of markets, and I come from Romania, which is an emerging market, but at this point, for example, my health insurance does not cover me getting the insulin pump. So I have to buy the insulin pump for myself, which is a $2,000 investment, and then maybe hope that I get support from my insurance company, although I'm paying for health insurance, to get my monthly dosage of insulin. Whereas if we create a marketplace on which, you know, the patient can, even if
Oh, we're losing there for a second.
yeah.
There's a bunch of noise. Is that on your side or?
No, I think it's Michael.
Oh,
And I don't know.
okay. Can you hit mute, Michael, for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
That was a little windy.
Germany.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. All right.
You don't want to know how we call it in France.
So yeah, so they, you know, so they make you have to buy that
Yeah,
you have to make that investment of a couple $1,000s to have that device.
exactly. And you could get it based on a subscription because we would have the right partnership in place to allow us to really get the price low for the patient.
Right, right. So so where are you at right now? I guess what are your sort of day-to-day activities? You're serving some pilots. What are sort of the different trajectories of your business activity right now?
So now we're discussing with investors in order to get the funds for version 2. The current version that we have is more centralized. So we are experimenting with blockchain just to see how it will work, but we haven't built our own yet. But as I said, we launched the second opinion. We added crypto payments. We are working to increase the amount of connections or just our partners that use the platform to pilot certain services or certain logistics in their businesses, in their operations, now to onboard multiple use cases for the platform. And probably by the end of this year, we expect to have the version 2 ready, and the social media, the healthcare social media app. And then next year, we're looking to add the deep learning part, which takes time. You know, 2019 is kind of the year of AI, which is similar to 2017 year of blockchain. So we know that it's going to be a wave of companies using AI, testing it. We're not really in a rush to implement it in our platform because we'd rather let them test it, and then, you know, when we feel ready, we just implement it and
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Kind of our roadmap. Based on expansion, so there's multiple takes to this. We can either just go with the existing partners and onboard more patients and more hospitals because we work with the hospital chains. So that means we have multiple hospitals belonging to the same chain. So that would be one option, to just increase that. Another option would be to onboard 2 countries per year, which was our initial target. But this is problematic because, you know, every country has its, like Michael said, its own medical certificates and requirements business-wise. And all the money you have to spend locally, you know, meeting up face-to-face, testing, piloting, and then marketing locally, that takes a lot of time and money. Or we would have the option to really build the whole version 2 system and then go as to many countries as possible. But for now, we're just looking to add more functionalities on the existing version and just take it, you know, with each partner at a time.
Awesome. So what are your current fundraising goals for 2019 to facilitate version 2?
So we discussed with the CFO. We actually did a very nice projection for 5 years.
Okay.
So we did a lot of calculations in the past couple of weeks. I think to get at least $2 million to start developing it, and make sure that we can deliver this product as a final product by the beginning of next year.
Awesome. That's pretty exciting. So do you have some metrics about kind of who or the number of people benefiting from the system today and some of those plans over the next year?
Yeah. So currently today, within our partnerships that we have, there are about 40,000 patients using it.
Wow. Wow, that's quite a sample. That's awesome.
It's quite an MVP, which is why we say it's beyond an MVP. And I think, just one of the biggest German hospital chains has over 2 million patients registered. So if we can get access to them, that would mean 2 million patients using the platform on a regular basis. Plus there's a different take to this, which I think it's very important. You have the patients that are coming from the partner side, these hospital chains and insurance and pharma, and the independent patients, which are nomads, business people traveling and in need of, because of their mobility, in need of healthcare on the go. So these would be people, expats or just nomads or travelers that would pay from their own pockets, independent of the amount. And even if you calculate at maybe $400 per year spent, with the expansion that we have, we're looking at a couple of maybe $500,000 income per year just from that. So I think we lost you for a second.
Oh yeah, sorry. Are you working with travel health insurance companies or other types of travel related service companies to put your offering in front of travelers?
We're discussing. Ben and I were in Thailand in multiple occasions, but around June when we were there the second time, we discussed with one of the biggest health insurance players in Southeast Asia, and they're very eager to, they like the idea of blockchain. They like our trajectory and what we're aiming for in our mission. And they did say that there's a huge problem right now with, for example, if you have an expat from, let's just say Germany, because there's a big German community in Thailand. So you have an expat from Germany moving to Thailand, but they have a medical condition. However, the insurance company cannot track if she had that medical condition before. So there could be room for fraud there. And it's also very hard for them to place them in the right medical healthcare in Thailand, because they don't know if the Thai hospital facilities would be able to treat him or her accordingly. And then they would have to, send them back to their home country. And that's a lot of money lost. And, it's also dangerous for the patient itself, because, in some cases like cancer, every second matters, every day matters. And you need to have services that are on point, fast, accurate, and don't create a price gap or even scammy practices in either part. We're used to saying health insurance companies, there's a lot of fraud there, but we don't understand that even for the health insurance company, there could be fraud in the patient side because they cannot really track. And like Michael said, the hospitals don't really communicate between each other. They barely communicate in the same country. Not to say between continents, that's an overstatement.
Yeah. There's big barriers that we call political lines.
Exactly.
Awesome. So well, this has been really great to have you guys on. Michael, I think you're still muted out here, but you should be able to hit the unmute button on your screen again. But this is really incredible, and I'd love to explore, just to put a few shameless plugs out there for Vermont, where I live. What's interesting here is Vermont is such a small state relative to the United States. And yet we have some really progressive and innovative activity in blockchain, as well as in technology and business models in general. So, you know, some of the things that come to mind are potential partnerships between you guys and captive insurers, which are sort of the disruptors of insurance that provide more streamlined management of insurance coverage and sort of some alternative risk management models for companies. And some really big companies use this model, and Vermont's a hotbed for it. We have, I think, the number 2 or number 3 number of captives domiciled in the state. And we were number 1 at one point years ago, and I think some people here are eager to regain that leadership role. And healthcare is a big part of that conversation. So I don't know if we'd have a big enough use case. You know, our state only has 600,000 people, so we're not talking millions. But if we can get people that across the board, I think the biggest challenge with what you're doing is similar to some challenges that I'm looking at with you know, renewable energy and rural access to broadband. It's about density. And when you don't have high density populations in cities, you need to have a high density participation. So of 10 households, you need to get as many of them on board as possible, even if they're not close together. And so that's kind of the interesting challenge of standardization, which blockchain seems to be offering some avenues to bring those things together, and introducing some creative incentives to kind of you know, facilitate that or encourage those things to happen. So what's I guess what can people do today? Someone's watching this and they want to maybe connect or learn about AIMedis. What they, you know, if they feel they want to use it or get it being used in their local community, or if they're traveling and they want to use it, what should people do to learn what they need to about how to connect with you guys?
Well, just go on the website.
Sure.
AIMedis.com. And we have there all the necessary links to understand what we do. We have also a blog, which is blog.AIMedis.com, where we will update on future features and you know, milestones on the roadmap. People in, you know, they can actually start using a second opinion, which is already, you know, you can use it just to get a second opinion, and I think that's more than valuable for.
Interesting. So anyone from anywhere could get on here, and then what are they doing? Are they loading in some records that they have to collect from their doctor in order to get that opinion, or how does that work?
No. So they just log. They go on secondopinion.aimedis.com, I think.
Okay.
Let's try this.
Do this.
secondopinion.aimedis.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So book a consultation now, and so you can use your mobile device. You can book. We will send you a code.
Can't hear you again.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, Michael, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, so actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about the second opinion feature that AIMedis has? Oh no, there we go.
So basically, as I told you guys, it's very important to sometimes to get a second opinion when it comes to crucial decisions, surgery, oncologic treatments, surgery, stuff like that. And then you can, our specialists can make an appointment. You can send your data. We will take care of the data. We will handle what you need to know. Then we arrange a video call. Then you can talk to one of our specialists in person. Very simple, very fast. With 2 or 3 mouse clicks, you're at the doctor. So there is no need to use the platform. If you first want to maybe check out the services, you can upload data just for the eyes of the specialists. And if you want us to upload the data to the platform, then you can do this. You know that in a very soon stage, we will release the first version of AIMedis to the public, so you can do it on your own. But you can also give us the task to open an account for you and store the data you already sent to us. So not too late to start at any time. But yeah, so basically you can book an appointment, you can upload your data, you can send us your questions, and we will handle it.
Excellent. That's incredible. That's incredible. So
Yeah,
now I would assume, is there some cost to this for the end user right now at a certain point? Do you guys offer like a free second opinion and then you know, some kind of follow-up arrangement, or how does that work?
Yeah, so basically the first discussion about, you say, okay, I want to know something about this and that. We give you a short introduction to that, first a little opinion, which is free. But if you want a real second opinion, well, you have to work through the documents, you have to take a look at the pictures, maybe you have to call certain colleagues, have to contact your doctor, then it costs a certain amount per 30 minutes. But we are orientated on the numbers that are calculated with insurance companies. So we do not charge like $500 per hour because we can. But it depends on the country, depends on the complexity of the case. But it's between 100 and $200 per hour. And in many cases, insurance companies will pay for this service. So we are at the moment negotiating with German insurance company exactly about that topic. So you can just give us your insurance number, and the insurance company will pay for the service. You don't have to do anything with it.
Gotcha. That's excellent. That's excellent. Really amazing. So, all right. Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for coming on here today. I want to wrap this up so it's not too long for our audience. People like to, stop in at their lunch break, and we want to make sure they can digest it. So I want to encourage anybody out there who's interested, check out AIMedis.com. You can get a second opinion at secondopinion.AIMedis.com. And I want to thank Roxana and Michael, both of you guys, for joining us here today. I look forward to connecting more, and we can talk more about other projects in the future, I think. And thank you guys both for being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Thanks for the interest.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. And thank you to the audience. Thank you guys for joining us at Interchain Live. This is Ryan Munn in Vermont. We're signing out. Have a wonderful day.